going on, everybody? It's Kerry with Longshot. Welcome to Underdog Stories episode 4. I'm here with Chad and Nadia Blackburn. They're joining me right now, and they're just going to pop the video up on their own personal and business Facebook stories real quick. But I wanted to say welcome. If you are watching the replay, do me a favor, just drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I know we got a ton of support out here on the West Coast, but all my East Coast peeps, y'all hold it down too. So if you're watching live, definitely say hi, drop a comment. If we get time, I promise we will try to take questions. I know I tried that with Jackson Al, and we ended up just blabbing for like an hour. So thank you for bearing with us on that. But again, just leave a comment below, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. So today on Underdog Stories, again, when I do this, I like to bring in fellow underdogs from the community, people who are out there getting what they want in life and taking no prisoners doing it. And my guests today do just that. I've got Chad and Nadia Blackburn. They are the founders and operators of Almost Famous Entertainment, which is a huge, successful entertainment empire here in San Diego. They do karaoke, they do DJing, they do all kinds of entertainment, and they've been growing over the past couple years, and it's something I've paid very close attention to, and am very excited to share with you today. So give me 1 second, guys. I am going to share this as well. Go ahead and post that.
Cool, I think I got it on our page and on the business page.
Perfect.
I feel weird being on my phone, not giving you my full attention.
Yeah, no worries at all, man.
Even at work, I'm always trying to like not, work, but not
for sure.
feel like I'm on my phone, and not paying attention to people.
No worries. So thanks for bearing with us, guys. We're just getting this out there so everybody can see it. Make sure everybody's good. So yeah, so Chad, Nadia, introduce yourselves, guys.
I'm Nadia Blackburn, and my husband Chad.
She introduced for me.
There you go.
Hello.
Chad Blackburn, and we are the owners of Almost Famous Entertainment.
Yep.
So one of the things I wanted to start with is how Almost Famous, got started, and how kind of the journey about how it's grown since its inception. Before we went live, guys, we were having a little conversation amongst ourselves, and Chad clued me into something that I didn't know, was that you guys started in like the Palm Desert area.
Yeah, we both went to Palm Desert High School together, and even though we went to school together, we didn't quite know each other. She didn't know me at all. I saw her exotic European look, but we ended up working together a few years later after we graduated, and that's where we fell in love.
Where were you guys working?
We worked at a nightclub called South Beach.
Okay.
And she was the VIP, or no, she was the hostess, and I was the VIP bouncer.
Smart club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I heard a rumor that this hostess girl thought I was cute. So,
That's awesome.
I told one friend.
Yeah.
That he was cute, and
That's how it goes.
everybody knew.
It's always that one friend. Damn it, Jackie. Awesome. Well, and so you guys met there, and then when did Almost Famous come about?
So Almost Famous came about, I had worked 6 years for a marble and granite company for architectural stone, selling stone, and we started going, when we were dating, we started going out to karaoke nights with some friends, and I was shy, I didn't want to sing karaoke, I was nervous, and then, some friends dared me to, and all of a sudden, I got that bug, I was like, oh, this is fun, all right.
Yeah. Dude, you're good.
Well,
you can sing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you try to downplay it, but I've been around at Henry's a couple nights, or whatever.
9 years of practice.
Yeah. You've got.
And what gets me is he can sing like country, and then he can sing like rap Eminem. Like,
Yeah.
how do you go like?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Super
9
talented.
years of practice. But thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so started out we did some karaoke nights. Got to
You asked me to be your girlfriend at my first like ever karaoke like
No
night.
way.
You
yeah,
did.
this is
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
Did you do it on the mic or was it like low key?
No, it was low key.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to like pull out the engagement.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, for sure.
Would you be my girlfriend?
Right. Yeah. You don't blow it on that.
Yeah, I had to save some stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, so it started out hobby. It
Yeah.
was fun, it was meet up with the crew, go to karaoke
Yeah.
night, kind of became buddies. The KJ at the time, real cool guy, and got along with him really well. He's just really friendly, and so a few months down the road, we got to talking, and he was like, I really feel like I could be doing more, but I'm just being, I'm working for this company, and they're not giving me what I want, and he was a go-getter, so I was like, well, I just got this bonus at work, and I had actually bought a brand new laptop to do video editing.
Right.
So Nadia bought me a green screen. I was like, cool, I'm
Wow.
gonna start making my own
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah,
And,
that's huge.
so he's like, I think, I got most of the idea for the equipment down. I would just need a really good laptop and
Right.
some other stuff. And I was like, well, dude, I just bought a brand new laptop.
Yeah,
and,
funny you should say it.
I was like,
Time
Yeah,
to
I was like,
just-
always.
I happened to get this
Yeah.
bonus and stuff. I was like, why don't I'll be the money,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
and trust me, I didn't have money back then, I was just, but I had some money, set aside, and I was like, I'll finance it if you're the talent.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So, so we started getting it together, and ordered all the equipment. Had a DJ buddy that hooked us up with some music, and kind of showed us the ropes on how to run the software, and so we just decided we want to buy the best equipment, and and that's what we would have to offer versus the competition.
Right.
Best speakers, best wireless microphones. Like why are they using corded microphones when we can spend a little bit more money and get wireless microphones?
Right.
And
It's a little competitive advantage there.
yeah. Well, he had started dating this girl. They'd been dating for like 6 months. Now, Nadia and I, at this point, we were married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so actually, maybe it was more than a few months down the road.
Yeah.
So a few months later. So, but yeah, we had gotten married.
Yeah, we
and-
already had our first child. Our first child was
When we started, when it started as a hobby, or
no, as
yeah,
once you bought like the actual equipment to start it as.
and we're going 10 years back.
Yeah,
now,
man, yeah,
So
dude.
sorry,
You guys have been at
our
it for a
memory's a
minute.
little
Yeah.
foggy, but yeah. So yeah, fast forward, we're married. We're starting this company with this guy now,
Which is
he's-
crazy. I mean, trying to start a company, be newlyweds,
Yeah.
have a
I
child.
would say it wasn't really, in our minds back then, it wasn't a company. It was more of like extra income.
Sure.
I still had my
It was a
job.
side hustle.
Yeah, and
That's how it starts.
yeah, exactly.
sure.
And so he had this girlfriend. They had started dating, and they were like 6 months in. And anyway, she came in and started wanting to call the shots too. And we were like, okay, well, it's a little different here. We're married. We're doing. You're like, we appreciate your input.
Right.
But you can't just come in and start
There's
telling
a-
us how to do stuff.
There's a
'cause-
fine line between critiquing and trying to have a say in something that you're not invested in yourself,
Exactly.
either monetarily or from an operation standpoint.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that.
Definitely. And so we kind of, the first deal was business cards. We're
Right.
like, cool, we're gonna get a business card. It's gonna have both of our names on it, and we figured out a name.
.com.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Vistaprint's the jam, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had
Sure,
more
yeah,
business.
those.
Yeah.
No, he's dropping the plug.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it was. It started off. So our first issue was with the business card. Like
Right.
he kind of went and made his own business card.
Okay.
On the side, and I was kind of like, all right. Then it came down to and I'm sure a lot of businesses run into this at the beginning. Like disagreements and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then we were going to share the equipment, or we were going to, everything that we brought in, we were going to split, as and
Right.
deal with it that way. But then it turned into, he wanted to do his nights, And then he's like, you can host your own nights. And I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I don't know how to host. You know, I'm just a guy. Like, I'm supposed to be learning from you.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, I'm not going to get a penny until I start hosting. Like, this isn't how it's really working out. So we had a few disagreements, and I at that point I told him, I was like, you know, it's getting a little rocky. You obviously have a different idea. I have a different idea. So why don't you just, you know, buy me out?
Sure.
You know, and I'll find something else to do.
Right.
And he's like, okay, give me a month to like make some money, and I'll buy you out. And I was like, okay, cool. Month goes by. He comes back over, you know, basically drops off my portion of the equipment that I paid for and said, oh, I made enough money, I bought my own stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's how it's gonna be, you know, like, so now I'm sitting here with a whole karaoke system that I don't know how to run, you know, I'm like, okay, let's just start piecing this off, you know,
Yeah.
on Craigslist. And
that was our, I think we even like.
The plan was to liquidate?
Yeah.
Yes, we were calling it quit, like, you know, that's it.
And it wasn't working out, you know, I wasn't, you know, nobody wanted to pay what I paid for this equipment, and I was brand new, so I didn't want to like, I was like, well, the only other option is I go out there and
learn
try to do it, you know, I got the stuff,
for
you know,
sure,
and
totally, absolutely.
Let's wing it.
Yeah, so I found a pizza place, it actually is like the #1 hotspot now, back where we live, but yeah, it was the Hood, and
like
just a little
the actual Hood, or
the name of the place was the Hood. They actually a couple of brothers from our high school started it up.
Okay.
And it was just a little hole in the wall pizza place, but it got packed in there.
Yeah.
So they let us. They were like, "Yeah, do you want to do karaoke here? You know, and cool, we'll pay you a little bit." And so I was like, "All right."
That's where it started.
That's where it started. So I started doing it there, and then a music licensing company got involved and started making threats that, you know, we didn't have the right licenses, and so I did a bunch of research, and it turns out I didn't have to carry any licenses, but the establishment has to carry a license, and they didn't have it, so they shut it down. They're like, we don't want to deal with it, you know, it's a good crowd, but we don't want to pay the prices.
Right.
So I went and found another gig in Cathedral City, and like I think I kind of told you about before this, it was not the best area of town. You know, it was,
for sure.
It was a pool hall. Yeah. It was known for its rowdiness. Mm-hmm. I believe it was 18 and up. Weren't allowed to serve alcohol, but that didn't stop them.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. My kind of place, man. Like, there were some places like that growing up that, you know, obviously we weren't supposed to be going to, but we did anyway. You know, we could smoke inside and play pool, and you know, we were young, and it was a good time. But so they let you set up a gig there?
Yeah, they let me set up a gig there, and they're like, yeah, do what you know, bring us some people, and you know, bring us kind of a little bit of a different, you know, some of your friends and stuff, and
you had a bunch of hard asses up there, and like
it's funny because I developed a little crew, you know, and they came out every week and supported us, and I remember the owner came and he's like, hey, we're gonna have a party for some big holiday, and he's like, we want you to DJ it, and I was like, well, I just do karaoke. He's like, no, just play the music videos that you play, you know, and stuff, and I was like, well, all right, you know, and, oh man, that was my first like DJ gig, you know, and
for sure.
The amount of requests, and I was doing all music videos at the time, and music I'd never heard of.
Which was something most DJs probably weren't doing at the time, though.
No, still a lot of people were not doing a lot of DJing. You know, it was a lot of even still now. DJing. Even it's starting to get more popular, but I've been DJing since day one. You know, like I started, and
that's definitely something. You know, a lot of times when it comes to, you know, creating a difference between you and the competition, some sort of competitive advantage. You know, it's doing something that nobody else is doing in your area or in your industry. And I remember when you would DJ at McFadden's, you know, and you'd play the videos and stuff. I mean, it was like a total game changer.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. So now there's like Chive TV and all these things going on in the bar that's, you know, just kind of mindless entertainment. But you would play, you know, the videos, and I mean, it was cool. You could kind of follow along, you know, with the videos and the music, and it was.
Yeah, because you think about it, a lot of people are in the car, they hear the song 1,000 times, but very rarely do they sit down and watch the music video.
Absolutely.
So you're out at a bar or at a club, and you know, maybe you're not there every night, but you pop in, you know, you got a sitter for the kids, and all of a sudden now you're like hanging out, you're like, oh shoot, I've never saw this video, you know, and you're having your drinks and this and that, and yeah, so it's definitely something different.
For sure, and it's cool that you've been doing that since day one, man. That's right.
Yeah. None of it was planned. Like this all just happened to fall into place, and
there's something about serendipity and the role it plays in success. A lot of times, especially in my life, there's a couple things I kind of point to and say, like, that's when everything changed. You know, and it usually revolves, like we were talking about before, it usually revolves around some sort of failure or some sort of dark spot, and then after that, timing. Just how things lined up afterwards, and you know, the crazy serendipitous things that go down that set you on the path, you know, and then you just keep hacking away at it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, and
Yeah.
if one little thing, you know, one conversation with that person, or one thing could have gone a different way, we wouldn't have been here where we are today.
For sure.
I felt so screwed over, you know.
Dude, I can't imagine the amount of adversity you just talked about in that little, you know, couple year window where, you know, partner, you know, screwing off and not doing his share, and then dumping, you know, your half of the business back on you, you know, and then having to start from scratch, and then getting your first gig shut down by like a municipality, dude. Come on, man. I mean, I'm telling you, 90% of people then would have been like, you know what, it's not worth my time. I'm cutting my losses. I am selling this shit on eBay, and I'll never see it again. You know, that type of thing. So you guys, you know, persevered in that, and that's awesome, man. That's what it's all about.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. We had a brand new baby. You know, our son was we were newlyweds.
Yeah.
You know, we fought a lot.
For sure.
I mean, there's a lot of trust that had to go into, and we were fresh in a marriage, you know, and you know, for her to allow me to go out on these late nights and stuff like that, you know, it took a lot of trust on her end. You know, even I was like, I don't know if I would be comfortable, you know, like.
For sure.
We had to switch.
And this was before San Diego. And now.
In a little, not little, but
smaller town.
Much smaller than San Diego.
Yeah.
And fast forward to our time to move to San Diego, that was another big deal. Like she was like, hey, we have an opportunity. You know, her parents and us had gone in on a condo that here in San Diego, and the renters were moving out, and her parents were like, well, if you guys want to move up there, you know, we'll completely support you guys. If you want to, you know, we'll support your move. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, my day job, we had run 6 years, shut down. You know, they were closing our branch in Palm Desert.
Wow.
And
what job was that?
It was selling architectural stone, so marble, granite, travertine. I'd done it for 6 years, and
the whole time the DJ thing had been a side hustle.
Yeah, and it was just getting off the ground, and I had my main income coming from that. But it was around 2000, you know, that 2008 economic crisis. Times, yeah, it was just.
Fortunately, I was in the military for that. Well, I was overseas, you know, for that, but everybody else was having a tough time here.
Yeah, we saw construction slow down, everything. And we couldn't do nothing except for sit there and wait until we got shut down. And,
for sure.
And you know, the day came, we got shut down, and got a nice little severance package. You know, the owner was a super cool guy, so he took care of us, and so yeah, we had to make this decision. You know, do we uproot and leave what we're home, you know, and move up to San Diego, where we knew it was going to be more expensive, and so
no family,
nothing. Yeah, for
no
sure.
family around, brand new baby,
for sure.
So it was a decision we decided to go to, and I was like, look, I'm going to take my karaoke books, and I'm going to walk the streets of downtown San Diego. And I remember we got our first gig next to where her brother lived, and that was in City Heights. Okay. And
like off University, like in the middle of City Heights. Of course, new to San Diego, we did not know the area. Right. But we kind of.
Her brother told us how rough it was in that area. Yeah. And so I found this little bar, and I was like, hey, I got a karaoke system, you know, can I come in? And they're like, the lady was like, yeah, come in on Tuesday, show up at 8 o'clock, you know, and do your thing. And I was like, yeah, just give me a shot, you know, I won't even charge you. I'll just, you know, let me show you what we got.
That's how you got that's how you got to do it.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
was like, just let me show you what I have done. Because she's like, do you have a following? I was like, no, we just moved here. You know, like I was like doing all I can. You know,
I don't know where we are right now.
Exactly.
For sure.
So I loaded up my. Okay, so first of all, that night there was a storm. So it was raining. It was pouring. The old man was snoring.
Absolutely. Chad. This is when we have to start getting you away from the kids. You start running.
Sorry, it was just came natural.
But it was raining.
So it was raining. I was out there tarping up the equipment and stuff because I didn't have a back on my truck at this time. We lived upstairs, so I had this huge thing I wheel around and tarped it all up. Got down to the bar, untarped it. Started moving the equipment, and the bartender goes, "Hey, who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I talked to the owner. She said come in on Tuesday at 8 o'clock." He's like, "No, we have a band coming in." And I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, no, she didn't tell me anything about karaoke." And I was like,
"They double booked you guys."
He's like, "Well, you can set up for like an hour before the band gets here, but I can't, like the owner's not here, and I don't really care what you do." And I'm like, seriously? Like, you want me to set all this up and no one's even going to be here to witness it? Like, so that was another crushing moment. I took my ball and went home.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And,
in the rain.
yeah, so I got home, I had to carry that thing, and I'm sure you've seen my system. It's almost the size of me, It comes
massive.
up to my chest here. Carry that thing one step at a time, up 14 stairs, up to the second story.
So do you like painfully remember every step?
Oh, I remember.
Of walking on that?
I just remember thinking, don't fall back.
Don't
fall back. If you fall back, you're dead. You're gonna break every bone in your body.
Again, man, I think back to pivotal moments, dude, and they're the funniest. They're just the most random, like stupidest stuff. But I've got one similar to that where I was walking to work in the snow and it was like freezing rain, and it was the point where I decided that I was gonna actually move to California. I've been saying I was going to move to California my whole life, but this was the point where I was like, in 6 months, my ass will be in California or I will be dead. And I was walking to a bar in Charlotte that I was working at, and it was up the hill to the light rail, in the freezing rain, slipping on ice. And I just remember every step that I took, and my feet were soaking wet, and I was freezing. I just remember every step that I took on that walk, being like, I'm going to take all this shit, I'm going to turn it into palm trees, and I'm never going to look back. You know what I mean?
That's
and
what it takes.
6 months later, I was out here with the girl I was dating at the time, and we were making it happen.
And those are the kind of moments that it takes.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
In so many.
I remember the struggle. I remember every struggle, and I remember my buddy meeting me downtown, and he's like, I'll show you around. He lived in San Diego for a little bit already. He's like, I'll walk around with you, and I was like, what is this? Having to park downtown? Like, I was like, wait, there's meters? I have to pay for this thing? Like, we're from Palm Desert. You just pull up and you park. So he's like, and he didn't like to park close. Like, he's like, he parked like 7 blocks away. And so he's just going bar to bar. I had some, flyer and my karaoke books. I'm like, this is what we do. This is what we do. And I walked in this place called Wet Willie's.
The
slushy,
slushy
place.
Yeah, okay.
And the manager, she's like, "Oh my gosh, we just opened not too long ago. This would be great." And so you got to come in and meet the owner. He's an ex-NFL player, Will Dimps. And I was like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "Wow, this is okay. We're in San Diego now, So
we made it.
Yeah. I met the owner, and he was super cool. And he's like, and he had a bunch of his own ideas and. I was like, whatever you want, just give us a chance.
Anything.
He's like, make these little karaoke books with top 100 songs. We want to put them on all the tables. I was like, cool.
Nice.
I'll go to Kinko's tomorrow,
For sure.
We printed them all out. We went, found out the top 100 karaoke, made our own little...
I hate to interrupt your flow, man, but I want to stop you there for a second because you've said 2 things now that I love and that I've implemented myself. And one of those things is working for free. So I can't tell you how many logos I've designed for $0 and... or drawn out sketches and given to people. Matter of fact, right now I'm going to call it. If I've ever designed a logo for you or drew you a picture or something, or tried to network with you and do design work for free, drop a comment, let me know when it was, and I want everybody to know about that shit. Or smash the share button because that would make me the happiest dude in the world. But so working for free is something I've always been an advocate of. at least to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
For every design job that I've taken, that I've done something for free or for a severely reduced cost, it has always led to more opportunity, and that, you know, it starts with a logo per se. It's like, man, our logo is crap, and Carrie, can you help me? And I'm like, of course, man. So I help them with the logo, and it's like, man, our logo looks great, but our business cards are crap. Carrie, can you help me? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It's like, man, our business cards look great, but our website is trash. So help us out. So it always, getting that first opportunity kind of sets off a domino effect of additional opportunities when you work for free. And the second thing that you said was you walked in and they had ideas and you said yes. And that's a huge part of initial success is, you know, committing to providing what they want from you. Not saying no, saying yes, and then figuring out a way to make that happen. So you go to Kinko's for this guy at Wet Willie's.
Yeah, I haven't made, and no, you made a great point. When I try to pass this on to my employees now too, and everything is, she knows it's hard for me to say no. We get called gigs, and she's like, "You have 4 gigs going on that day. Why are you even talking about this?" Right. And I'm like, "Because we can make it happen. There's a will, there's a way. We'll find a way." But anyway, we'll get so. Wet Willie's happens. Now I'm dealing with a whole different things because I know how to set up at home. I know how to set up, but now I'm dealing with older buildings and stuff like that. Sure. Different, different connections. And, we're not plugged into all these TVs, or we're not, we want you on this TV, that TV, but we don't have a matrix system to plug you. So now I'm running in, I'm buying these, HDMI splitters and I'm buying converters for audio because I'm getting channel, noise out of the left side, but not the right side.
And learning
all this as we go. I can't tell you how many times I ran into issues, and I ran into one last night, and I made it work. It's just one of those things you just don't. There's only been one time, and that's because my computer completely crashed. It died. This thing I took it into the computer shop and it's dead. That's the only time I've ever walked out of, a gig. I can't do anything anymore karaoke. I've had cables break as of last night, and stuff like that, and me and the manager, we were able to use the house microphones in enough time to splice the wires, connect them, wrap them in tape, and get the microphones working without anybody knowing that we skipped a beat. And it's just that takes years of problem solving. Just figuring out, and not giving up. I hate giving up.
Well, I think there's so much to be said about the ability to run into problem after problem after problem and find solution after solution after solution. I think it takes something special in a individual to be able to do that, but I also think that's something you can kind of train yourself to do. So just to put that in context real quick, Chad is a guy who had no interest in DJing, had no idea about how to even get started with karaoke or entertainment. After years of persistence and learning and problem solving, is able to, on the fly, fix a audio video problem in the middle of a gig and keep rolling, and then just crush the evening, because I've been to events that you do and you kill it, dude. Your mic presence is crazy, your sets are good, you're playing videos, nobody else does that shit. It's just really awesome to see, because of just persistence, constant learning, problem solving, and making rainbows out of rain for all intents and purposes. See that generate this much success for you guys. So that's huge, man. And speaking of success, we talked a little bit before we got started. You guys are up to 5 employees now?
Yeah.
5 employees.
5 we got. They're working weekly. Yeah.
And then you've got additional subcontractor employees.
Yeah.
Another 4
for weddings, corporate parties. Private events. If one of our employees needs to take some time off, I have a couple other people I could call that maybe worked at. We have yet to leave any bad blood. I could call up. We have an employee, Yazra, that used to work for us, years ago, and did a great job, but she went off to pursue school and all that.
Sure.
I could still call her up and be like, hey, Esther, I'm in a pinch right now. Can you help me out and stuff like that? And
Right.
and at the times I have, she's been like, yeah, what do you need me to do? And
Yeah.
and all of
like
our
great.
employees are
Yeah.
awesome like that. It's just
I feel
I
like
couldn't
we're-
ask for a better group
Yeah.
of people. They're talented in so many ways. Singing, and we never required any of that. It just happened.
Right.
I feel like you meet these people in a good environment, a good area. A lot of them are regulars that just
Sure.
turned into, hey, you do a great job. How would you like to make some money doing this?
It's funny, these projects that we get ourselves into, the karaoke business or the entertainment business, and then with me with the design and eventually clothing and everything like that. You develop this gravitational pull, where you attract people, and then you can help them and network with them, and it's so cool that some regulars have turned into employees or subcontractors for you guys. But just to touch on something you said again a second ago, not burning bridges, like that's so important to me, man.
Yeah.
No matter what, always being positive and taking the high road in a situation, even when you came out short. I think that's super important, man, and I definitely see how that works for you guys with your business.
Yeah.
And then you said a number before we started, 20 gigs a week. You guys are doing 20 events a week.
Between here and LA. Yeah, we have Betty up in LA, Elizabeth, and she's crushing up there.
Shout out, Betty. Do your thing, girl.
She's doing a great job up there, and she's running her own little branch. And
No way.
of Almost Famous, she's got her page going. She's got her group of followers
Wow.
now, and it's
So it's almost like a
killing it.
friend, it's almost like a franchise.
we haven't
or like
gotten
an
there
extension?
yet. It was she said she showed me a lot of confidence that she can. She's like, build me a system, and I'll like give me what I need to do it, and I'll make you proud.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
She used to work for us down here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
She ended up moving to LA, and she saw opportunities in these
Absolutely.
bars in LA that.
And I told
So,
anybody. I
yeah.
told all of my ex-friends. I had friends that from the Navy. That have been in the Navy that have moved all over the United States.
Sure.
And I've told them. I said, you show me that you can get an area going, or I'll fly out there. I don't care, and help you. But if you're serious about it, do your research. Do your that. Report back to me. I'll build you a system.
Yeah.
I'll fly it out there, drive it down to you,
That's
and
right.
we'll get it started.
Yeah.
You just got to show me that initiative. Like. I can't just be like, oh yeah, I want to make some extra money, build me a system, and I'll go. No, you gotta. And Betty did that. She's like, hey, I got this bowling alley that really wants trivia and stuff. I was like, cool, I'll build you a trivia system, and
For sure.
and from there, she's like, I'm just like, whatever you need. And now she's running 2 gigs down there weekly, and
right.
they love her, and
Yeah, man.
so.
Very cool. Congratulations, dude. I'll be
Thank you.
completely honest. I didn't even know about the LA thing, man.
No?
That's awesome. But I did know about the new offices. You guys just got moved into new offices a couple months ago.
Yeah, we had it. Well, we had an office for like a year and a half ago, and we had an office assistant in there, and we ran with it. And we just kind of realized our business at the time is not really an office-based business. Every time a bride wants to meet and stuff, they want to meet at a coffee shop around where they live. And
Right.
we
Or
cater to them.
emails.
We don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask them to drive to Chula Vista to come.
Sure.
So we were like, you know what? The office work that needs to be done can be done from home, a home computer or whatever. So we have an assistant now, that runs all of our stuff for us. But we just told her, I was like, there's no point in paying $1,000 a month for this office that nobody's going to.
No, dude.
When they can call. So we made it. It was really cool to have an office, and it was, it was great to like, hey, I'm gonna run to the office for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was not a necessity, and
For
it
sure.
wasn't helping us grow where we need we
Absolutely.
needed to go.
Once we put it on paper and the taxes, which.
Yeah, we were like, we could write it
away.
off and all this stuff, and it just it didn't turn out that way.
Sure.
And, there's times that we signed a year lease, so we honored that year lease, and it was when we got to that final year or that final month, we were like, okay, now we got an extra $1,000 coming into our
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah, for sure. Once you drop that additional overhead, that's the name of the game. Is cutting down on upfront expense, getting that overhead as low as humanly possible, and then being able to dump those dollars back into the business and, either upgrade equipment or, pay for promotion or pay more employees or whatever.
Yeah.
We've had so
and
many.
just like, it was just a learning. We just learn as we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trial and error.
Yeah, for sure. That's the biggest, that's the biggest lesson this whole thing is, continue to learn, continue to grow in your craft. And then one thing that you've done that I really admire is not get discouraged by the adversity when it comes, because it is coming. That adversity
I think a lot
is
of
coming,
that,
bro.
a lot of that comes down to having her by my side. I mean, Nadia has been such, I couldn't imagine, like...
Fellas, y'all saw that, right? Everybody just saw what happened. Okay.
No, I couldn't imagine. I've had my heart broken by a business.
Sure.
To where it reminded me of feelings I had with an ex.
Absolutely.
Like a first love kind of feeling. Our first, and so long story short, at this part, Wet Willie's went great.
Mm-hmm.
They had me DJ a night again. I did the DJ thing. It was cool. Another spot picked up on it, Maloney's downtown.
Oh yeah.
And Maloney's was like, hey.
R.I.P. Maloney's.
Yeah. They were like, hey, you do why don't you pick up a night here? And I totally turned around their Mondays. Their Mondays used to be dead upstairs, and we turned it around. And then all of a sudden, the GM was like, cool, you do Mondays. Can you do Thursdays? Or Wednesdays? I was like, yeah, I could. Or no, I was like, I can't do Wednesdays because I was at Wet Willie's. He's like, okay, cool, we'll take Tuesdays then. So we took Tuesdays. Tuesdays did great. He's like, hey, how about we do it Thursday? I said, cool, Thursday. He's like, now what do I have to do to get you to do Wednesday? And I was like, Wet Willie's gave me my shot, man. I can't bail on him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, time went on. Wet Willie's didn't last. They had to shut the doors. So Maloney's automatically scooped it up. Like, you're ours. Yeah. So I was like, cool. I was like, so they kind of monopolized me. And then they did the same thing. They said, hey, we love the music videos you're playing in between. They're getting great feedback from the bartenders and stuff. We run ESPN downstairs. Instead of ESPN, can you put on music videos on the weekend and be our DJ? And I was like, I don't see why not. I do it here. I do it here. I can do it there. And they're like, yeah, well. So it was this little DJ booth where you sit down and you're underneath a staircase. The DJ booth just hidden. People come up and set their drinks in front of you and stuff.
Right.
And so it was a little different. I
Harry Potter down. Under the stairs.
Exactly. I was like the
yes.
So it was definitely again a whole new learning experience, because now I'm controlling a crowd that's not picking the music.
Right.
Karaoke, they pick the music. That's fine. Mm-hmm. I know what they're going to sing, and I can roll off of what they're singing. I can decide what song I'm going to play next.
So this was your first segue into the
This was
DJing,
my first
MC.
Residency.
Right,
now I'm running every weekend the show down there. And I remember the first weekend I did it, one of the main bar, I think he was the bar manager, he was like, dude, the energy in here tonight was so different than we've ever experienced. He's like, you crushed it. And he's like, everybody was just kind of like, wow, we didn't know this could be possible. And the feeling I felt, I went home, I was on cloud 9. I was like, I DJ'd,
for sure.
It wasn't a private party, this is my new job. Mm-hmm. And so Maloney's monopolized me completely. We want you here.
I hate to keep interrupting you, man, but there's that energy that you went home with that night. There are things that I feel like we experience, on the journey, where it's just like, oh, dang! Like if I could have this feeling every time I did this, then I know what I should be doing. I know where I'm supposed to be at.
And I still get those, and that's what I love about this job.
Dude, there was the first time I ever had a shirt that I designed come to me in the mail. I got that feeling.
Yeah.
And then when Long Shot was just an idea I was kicking around, and as soon as I sent off for a sample to be made of one of my first shirts, and as soon as that shirt arrived, dude, I almost teared up. I got this energy, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's it. So I totally feel you. So what I'm trying to get at here is if you feel that, if something happens to you when you're doing something that is maybe just a hobby or something you like to do on the side, and you feel that sensation, remember it and then act on it and continue to execute on that, going forward. And don't get discouraged.
Sure.
But sorry, so to interrupt again, you were first night DJing in your Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, so that started to roll smoothly. I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing here.
Sure.
Then, company across the street, calls me up. It was a little tequila bar, Tequila 100. And they're like, hey, we had karaoke Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but we want to switch hosts. We want you. We heard you guys do a good job across the street on the weeknights, but we want you on the weekend.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, you can't have me because I'm already committed.
Right.
But I got this really good regular that I want to hire on, and he brings a ton of energy. Brian Munoz, and
Hey, shout out, Brian.
he was our first employee, and I was like, hey Brian, what do you think about running karaoke? He's like, dude. This guy is always like, I love it, man. I love it. He just pull up. The guy bounces around naturally.
It's all about that energy.
Yeah, he loved DJing and just that whole atmosphere. So I was like, you want to run it across the street? I said, I'll be over here, you be over there. And he's like, dude, heck yeah. He's like, and I was like, cool, I'll build you a system. So I called the guy and he was like, yeah. He's like, let's see him. Bring him in. Let me see. And Brian ran his first show and did a great job.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was like, wow, okay. Now we're running. Okay,
now you're an employee.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot back here for a second to tell you another life-changing moment here. When we first moved to San Diego, I had somebody in my life at the time, a family member, that was very negative. Like, it was just, it was one of those things. We moved to San Diego, and she was like, you'll be, you kind of got that "you'll be back" kind of feeling.
Oh, for sure.
And so I remember.
Yeah.
After they came
coming from a small town on the East Coast, I got plenty of those. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. See you in a few months.
Right.
Because a lot of people do come back.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know people from my city who have come out here to live. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, when did you get out here?
Yeah.
And then I see on social media or whenever they move back and now they're back.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard.
It's tough
to make it.
So you had somebody in your life that was giving, projecting doubt on you, maybe.
I could still remember. Here we are. We're living in a condo. We got a brand new baby. We got all of our, a moving truck out front and stuff, and we just unloaded and kind of saying our goodbyes. And
sure.
And I got this. So what are you gonna do now that you're here? Kind of speech. And I was like, well, what I'd like to do is I'm gonna go down, and if I could get 3 karaoke nights, I'll be making close to what I was making. Charging this much, I'll be making close to what I was making at my day job back in Palm Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and if I could get 5 nights, I'd be good,
Right.
And I got kind of one of those like, oh, it's good to dream, it's good to have, it's good to have dreams. And I was like, okay, so that was another moment that sticks out with Nadia and I a lot, was like,
I think we wrote it down.
Yeah.
We wrote it down or something, and it was just one of those things that like, we are gonna prove you wrong.
That is so great to hear. Yeah. Because a lot of times I think I'm the only one and I think I'm crazy.
No.
So it's just good
to
know.
Got to.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
And so we
yeah, absolutely.
Once we got that other employee going, I was just like, man, okay, now we're sitting on, like 8 nights here, and I was like, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm happy. So then then the juices were flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to Maloney's and I was like, hey, one of the corporate people ended up being in town, and I was like, you guys have a lot of locations, and they loved what was happening here in San Diego. She would come up, she's like, Chad, you're doing a great job. We really like
those guys. Yeah.
I was like, well, what do you think about me doing the same setup to your other spots? Mm-hmm. And she's like, I like it. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, if you wanna set it up, we'll support it. And I was like, okay. But she's like, you're gonna have to, fly out there on your own dime and stuff like that. So I told Nadia, I was like, hey, what do you think? I can hire a DJ, I can hire a karaoke girl, we can take some equipment out there, and the first stop was Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So booked a flight to Tucson, and I think around this same time we found out she was pregnant with twins.
Wow.
So yeah, I had to step up my game.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
We got twins coming.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
So book a plane to, I we start reaching out to these people on through Craigslist and all of that, and checking their backgrounds and all of this stuff, and so we set up a ton of interviews, and I fly down to Arizona and I start interviewing these people, and went to the Guitar Center down there and was able to buy all the equipment that I didn't already have, and put it all together.
Right.
So then we started doing Arizona. So now we have stuff coming. I have employees in Arizona. I have employees in San Diego.
Wow.
And then they said, "All right, we love what you did in Arizona. Let's do it in Colorado."
What?
So this is all happening really fast. So I started out. It was just me a few months ago. Now I got Brian. Now I got these people running karaoke and
gigs.
In Arizona, and now I'm flying to start up this new bar in Colorado, in Denver.
Wow.
And it all happened so fast that it was a little bit mind-boggling. It was a little bit too much for me, and I will admit I got in a little bit over my head. I at that time it probably would have helped to have somebody, with her being pregnant and everything, she couldn't help me out quite as much as she would normally would.
Right.
And so we had one employee. It went good for a little bit, and then we had one employee in Arizona just disappear, and I was like, no, stop picking up the phone calls, stopped everything. I was like, all right, at least send my equipment back. I said, sending text messages, hey, please, I have kids on the way, like anything, please, just send my equipment back. I don't mind if you can't work for me anymore.
Right.
So he sent I got a random package, got half the equipment back.
Stop.
And then he was gone. This vanished. The phone number I called, somebody else started picking up, and they're like, oh, he moved.
What's his name?
I don't even remember anymore.
All right. Well, that's where we differ.
You were definitely heated.
I was ready to.
I can't imagine, dude. I cannot imagine.
I was ready to hop in the car. I remember even posting on Facebook. Ananybody want to go to Arizona with me to try to get this equipment back? And Richard Patron, he was like, "Dude, I'm down."
No. Shout out, Richard.
Yeah, Mike too. Mike Santiago.
Yeah, Mike Santiago. I mentioned Patron because we were just talking about that the other day.
Yeah, real ones, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. So that one, we ended up getting a replacement. It was going fine. Well, in Arizona, one of the managers tried to pull something tricky. They took the DJ that I had trained, and I guess pulled him aside one night and said, "Hey, we'll hire you, and let's just get rid of Chad.
Right.
He's just the middleman.
Right.
Like you come work for us." Well, my employee at the time, he was like, "Hey, this is what's going on." He's like, "Dude, I know you're a good guy. I know you got family and stuff like that. I'm not gonna screw you like that." Like he's like, "This is what's going on." So I called the VP, of the corporate, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Well, why are you accusing one of my managers?" And I was like, "Well, this is what I'm being told." And she's like, "Well, I'll deal with it." And it turned out that there's this whole big thing. She stuck by her manager. Right. Her manager admitted it. And so I felt really betrayed. I felt extremely betrayed. So I told my employee, I said, "Look, do me a favor. You can still work for him. I would never keep you from working.
For sure.
Go do what you got to do.
Yeah, you need to make money.
But just do me a favor. Don't use my equipment. If they want to use you and hire you, let them use their own equipment."
That is so much more than fair.
Yeah. And he's like, "I totally understand." He's like, "I won't take your equipment in tonight." He's like, I'll send it tomorrow. But he's like, I'm going to stay on because I need the money. And I was like, dude, I 100% support that. So he sent my equipment back. Now, of course, this turned into a little bit of issues here in San Diego because now this company we have some issues going on, and I feel like nothing of this happened because of what we did. It was just, so it was obviously getting awkward. And we decided it was time to. I was like, they started having me wanting to train one of their managers for when I'm gone, and then that manager was taking notes of like every music I played and starting to build his own playlist. Right. And I was like, I know what you guys are doing. Like I'm not stupid.
For sure.
So
this was Maloney's.
This was Maloney's.
Okay. Wow.
And it was. And they had a lot of beef with them because McFadden's opened up during the time I was there, and they hated McFadden.
Yeah, we put them out of business, man.
they were wanting to throw eggs at your guys' windows and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, man.
So so I was like, you know what, I was like, this is, I know what they're doing, and it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts
for sure.
to walk in that door and feel that feeling and know
Absolutely.
what was going on. So,
especially when you were responsible in a lot of ways for turning around their business.
exactly.
Like, you know, you made 4 or 5 nights by the end of it successful for them, and their way to repay you was to take that business in house.
Yep.
And you know, and that's
They completely ruined it, and
which is a lesson that we have to learn.
It's a
You know what I
lesson.
mean? It's one of those things that unfortunately happens, and being good people, which I know you guys are, and I know my network, you know, everybody that I know out here that's doing their thing, they're all good people, man.
Yeah.
And there are people out there, you know, there are entities, businesses, whatever, who are going to try to, 1, take advantage of you, or 2, you know, take something that you've built and make it their own, because it's, you know, it's good for them, you know, and that it makes sense for them, and it sucks that, you know, that's something you have to encounter and kind of swallow, as you're chasing your, you know, your dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a huge shock to us, because we had all this income coming in and all this business, and I can still remember sitting on the floor and shaking and like just being like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, you know,
Right.
like I don't know how I'm going, you know, like, and Nadia just being like, we just need to get out there. And I was like, well, you go into these places because you're hot. You know? I was like,
Yeah.
at least
Right.
you sell them on the business. And
Yeah,
she
for
actually went
sure.
into McFadden's
Yeah.
and met with Asa.
No
and
way.
Which I didn't know.
Did you
who
land
was at the
McFadden's?
time.
she landed McFadden's.
No way.
Something.
It was
They asked me to host.
Yeah.
who was the manager or who was the GM back then? Duffy. It was.
Duffy?
Yeah,
Kevin
she
Duffy?
met with Kevin Duffy and Asa,
I wanna
and
say it was
I remember
Asa.
her
Yeah.
coming down and being like, "You have a meeting with a guy named Asa,
Yeah.
you know, and
What up,
Kevin,
Asa?
yeah."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yes," I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "We'll show Maloney's, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna work for the competition,
And we
you know,"
did.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so we started off, you know, we did McFadden's. Luckily, Double Deuce was. Another one that was like, hey, we wanna grab you guys
Yeah,
too.
for
If
sure.
you're not, like, we saw what you did across the street at
Right,
Maloney's.
right.
If they're not gonna want you, we want you. So
sure.
we went right in there, and Joey Hernandez is a great guy.
Yeah.
He hired us at Double Deuce, and I love Joey,
I
man.
remember
And
going into that. We just popped in.
yeah,
just
he was
to say
such a
hi,
cool
just to-
manager
Yeah.
to, like, you know, and he had an idea of what he wanted and stuff, and we were kind of.
We were on date night.
Yeah, we were out on date night,
were out
and
on
we
date
actually
night.
we went to we were checking out McFadden's.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Scouting it.
yeah, because we had just got hired there, so we were like, well, let's go check this place out, and
Right.
Make a date out of it,
yeah.
and then we happened to stop into Double Deuce.
So it was just all starting to come back together.
One of those little pieces that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And yeah, it was another one of those things. After we lost Maloney's, I was like, well, how are we going to get back to what we're doing, you know? And
for sure.
and we had to it's like it got so big, it crumbled, and then we just had to rebuild.
Yep.
And we've been rebuilding ever since. And you know, it's just we've been fortunate to land some really great spots. And Henry's another one that, you know, we happen to segue in there right at the right time.
This is such a great spot.
I do. I love them.
The place is great.
Yeah, it's and they're consistent. They know what they want. It's every week, and they offered us more than we even asked, and they still do. They give us, you know, the great setup there. And
Which is another, you know, another great takeaway is that in the beginning you may have trouble finding people to pay you any amount of money to do what you do, but if you persist, if you continue, no matter what, even if your monopolizing client, you know, pulls the rug out from under you, if you persist, people will pay you more than you ever thought somebody would pay you to do your thing.
It's definitely, you got to know your worth, you know, and I've learned my worth over the years. And in fact, something I just did recently, Nadia was like, I'm so happy to hear you know your worth now. And it's true, because
I was getting upset at him actually. I
Yeah.
was like, you need.
I don't like to say no, you know, I like to take things
understand that you're worth a lot more.
For sure.
I mean, I see it. I saw it in him. So
And it's gotten to now. I've had like bars like bid over me, to where I've been like, wow,
well,
I can't believe
created a demand.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and just to know that this all happened from it was just it was a hobby, and it was just
at the beginning.
and it all came out of pure necessity. It's
For
just
sure.
you want something, go out and get it. You got to make it happen, and it might be rough, and there's going to be times that it's hard, but you just gotta.
Oh, I think every week we still run into. I mean, it's always like
we're always going.
That's the one thing. Yeah,
I mean,
that's the one thing people don't understand is the problems don't go away; they get bigger. You work harder. It doesn't get easier. You know what I mean? There's like this. There's this like misconception that it's like, oh, once we get to this point, cruise control should be all good. I'm fortunate enough to be the number 2 at a sales agency. That's my day. That's my day gig. Long shot is really a dream, just a dream that I'm working on to build. And
awesome.
Yeah, and well, I work with a guy who's been in the business for 30 years. In the independent sales market, and he is working harder now than I bet he ever has, and he's crushing it. Which is great for me because I'm getting to swim in that wake and see what it takes. But the misconception simply just isn't true. It gets harder. The problems get bigger. But
a lot
again,
more to manage. More employees, more bar managers, more private parties,
more invoices, more
emails. Right. Just dealing with customers. Recently, actually, we started incorporating weddings also, just to kind of besides like private parties.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different ways to talk to a bride versus how you talk to a bar manager.
Absolutely.
Who teaches you that? Nobody. You just kind of.
There's different. I mean, we work with big companies now, like Southwest Airlines, Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. We do all of their parties. So again, those companies come in and they're like, we don't care what you charge us, just make it happen. We want to make sure the microphones don't squeal. We want to make sure you're plugged in, ready to go at this time. Like I run like their Christmas party every year, and they basically just want background. We want some holiday music, and
don't mess it up.
They're like when the president the president of the company comes in to talk, we don't want the microphones going explode. And I meet with their AV guys, and I'll go in there 4 hours before we start and run wires through the ceilings, everything, and make sure we do 2 stories, 2 floors. We have an upstairs, a downstairs, a hallway, a stairway, and everything that we provide all the sound for.
Wow.
And we put boxes on, like with tape of what not to stand. His assistant comes in and it's like, okay, where we got to get security passes. We got it's all of this stuff is you can't just walk in there in like shorts and a t-shirt and be like, yeah, I'm the DJ.
For sure.
You got to come in sharp. You got to and it's a lot of this stuff. It's you just got to learn as you go. And I'm a big believer of dressing. Better than you're supposed to, come in
it's better to be overdressed.
I would rather not walk into a gig where everybody's dressed up and you are working it and you're not in the right attire.
Absolutely. So
there's a lot of things that you just.
Well, again, guys, I just want to recap real quick. This is a true underdog story. It's a couple who started out with the idea for a hobby that through a series of unfortunate events and adversity continued to persist and figure it out no matter what it was. On the family side, on the business side, started out working for free in sketchy pool halls, and now you're doing you've got 5 to 9 employees depending on the season. Doing 20 gigs a week, doing holiday parties for multi-million-dollar companies.
We do all of our kids' schools dances. We do all that nonprofit. Like we do that just as a part of the community. Like we'll go in there and we just did our family dance last year. We did their 6th grade dance. We did the fall carnival, and all of that's provided by
Well, thank you guys. That's awesome. So one thing I did want to ask is, I know there's a lot of couples out there. I'm not the one to take relationship advice from. You guys obviously are. So as you know, as a team, personally and professionally, what advice? What's the one piece of advice you would give to other couples out there who may be trying to make it work?
Well, I'll start this one out.
Sure.
Honesty. Honesty is a big one. You start with a little lie and it snowballs, and before you know it, you're lying about stupid stuff. You're lying just to lie. You know, and we've always had a thing where if it started out like if we say you promise, that's where it gets real. You know, like we can joke around with each other and be like, no, I didn't. You know,
for sure.
But if she
says
the
promise, shine of the knife, like
that's what I told her. I said if I'm trying to plan a birthday party, so don't bust out the promise thing on me, you know, because that's just messed up.
Right, things may change.
Yeah. But it started out with the whole promise thing. Like you say, if you promise, you know, then you're 100%. That's like I swear on my mom, you know, kind of thing. That was our thing. Now, you know, we don't even have to get to that promise part. You know, it's just we tell each other you know, this will be September will be our 10-year anniversary.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
That's right.
And we go through our struggles like any other couple.
Absolutely.
You know, times get tough, we get stressed, or, you know, if I have a gig coming up, I get a little grouchy. You know, she has a competition coming up, she gets you know.
Yeah. Plus, on top of that, we're complete opposites.
Opposites.
Like we really are. Like, I mean, she more
likes
vocal.
Tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes. She likes cold. Or she likes hot. I like cold.
Yeah, seriously, like
it's total yin and yang.
I don't even know how
But everything that that is like incomplete, she fills.
Right.
You know, and I hope I do that too.
Yeah, it's vice versa,
Right.
We kind of come together, and actually, I'll tell you a story. Tuesday night, our kids' school, they had a fundraiser at CPK, California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah.
We have not been there in years. Like it's been like 6 years since we've been there.
Right.
And so we went, you know, we took the kids out, we donated our, you know, time to CPK and to the school. And he wanted the ribeye steak, but I also wanted steak.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to try out like other stuff on the menu. You know, we haven't been there in a while. So, okay, he likes his steak rare. I like my steak like well done.
Burnt.
Like burnt.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you know what? You get the steak, I'll get the lettuce wraps, the kids have their pizza, stuff like that. Well, when he orders a medium. To make it medium. And I noticed, I'm like, oh, you like it rare, I like it well done. He meets me in the middle.
Right, for sure.
And I feel like we do that a lot, like not even thinking that he ordered a medium because that way I can have some too since I wanted to have
Absolutely.
And it just kind of comes together, and I feel like we do that, like in business, he brings in ideas, I say, oh, but what if this way or what if that way, and then, you know, we kind of meet like somewhere in the middle.
To be super zen about it, between two extremes lies balance. So, you know, I feel, me personally, me and my lady, me personally, I'm, you know, a lot of times I feel just conflicted because there are two very polar opposite things kind of pulling at me inside about stuff, you know. So, but I always tend to find the balance between the two, and I think, you know, that may be something that you guys experience as a couple, where it's, you know, there may be some opposite forces at work, but there's always a balance that you guys can move forward on.
And we're both stubborn at times, and sometimes like I don't want to let go of what I believe in or what I want, or he doesn't want to, but I feel like in the end, in order to make a relationship work, there has to be some sort of like a little bit, take a little bit from her, take a little bit from him, and like meet in the middle.
For sure.
So hopefully
and there used to be, I mean,
medium steak was good.
No, it was delicious. Yeah, a lot of it too is like you gotta be confident and comfortable with your relationship. You know, I can't tell you how many times we're in the gym and she gets hit on. You know, because a lot of times we won't work out together. You know, and I'll be in the nightclub and I'll always come home and tell her I'll be, this girl, you know, gave me her phone number tonight, and not because I have to, but it's just because I don't, you know, like I don't want to hide anything. You
Right,
know, it's
right.
not,
And it lets both of you know you still got it.
yeah, you know, it's
No.
definitely a confidence
Yeah,
booster, you
for
know.
sure.
I take that as a compliment for me, actually.
Absolutely.
Like when girls are like, "Oh my gosh, he's cute," like they ask for his phone number and he tells me about it. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like,
And I don't come home bragging, but,
yeah.
you know,
You whipped this guy into
brag.
shape. He was doing fitness competitions a couple months ago, and he's killing it.
yeah, and that came from one of your earlier. Well, the inspiration came from one of your other underdog stories, and that was Alyssa Robbins.
Yep.
And,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alyssa, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
completely
Shout
changed
out
our
Jackson
lives.
Al, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
she turned it around for us. I mean, I was topping the scales at like 280.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, a few years ago, and I saw what Alyssa Robbins did, and you know the confidence she had, and just, you know, I told Nadia about it. Nadia was interested in the fitness competition part of it, and I was like, you know, she started doing it, and I was like, well, I want to be on track too. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
This looks fun. This looks like gives me a goal, gives me something I want to attain, and
I don't know if fun is the right. Like,
well, I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't fun.
but-
It was a lot of work, but it wasn't. You know, going from 280 and stepping on stage at 195. You know, it was
That's impressive.
it was the confidence that, you know, I felt like that's when our work started getting better too.
Yes,
Like
it's true.
everything turned around, you know, all of a sudden it's just, you know, you feel confident in yourself,
Sure.
and it shows.
Yeah,
It shows
absolutely.
through work and everything, you know, you show up happy,
It definitely does, man. It
Yeah.
spills over onto everything, man. And to generalize that a little bit, I feel like anytime I tune up a habit where I really tighten it up and I get super disciplined about it, that discipline carries over into like not even on purpose, completely coincidentally,
Yeah.
just tightens up everything else too.
That is so true.
which
That's,
is-
I feel like that's how our business grew.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's when it kind of grew. That's when we got the office. And we
Uh-huh.
were just we brought trivia to our services, and not
Yeah.
just like the pen and paper trivia.
Sure.
We really like went out and we
we
bought like
bought $500
tablets.
worth of you know, Kindle
Game
Fires and everything. Yeah, so we roll in
Again,
with
doing something that none of the competition does.
Oh yeah,
No,
we,
Like,
we just
you guys
did.
have a knack for that.
Yeah, we
which
come
is
in
awesome.
with 16 tablets ready to go, and pass them out, and you know, it just bars are like, wait, this is real? Like you do this? And like, we didn't even know this was out here. And
Wow.
like, you know, it's it's and we're starting to get in now, and we're always coming up with new ideas. You know, we're doing the themed trivia now. We started getting into that a little
Dude,
bit
the
last
themed
year.
karaoke.
Yeah.
And themed karaoke, we do our
Bro.
emo night now.
Bro,
and
you
emo night.
blow it up.
150 people. There's I think our first night at
saw
McFadden's,
videos from
200 people on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Like singing all my favorite stuff from like
High
Yeah.
school.
high school
Yeah.
too.
And I remember
Yes.
telling Joe, the general manager of McFadden's, you know, I was like, we do emo night, and he's like, I don't know, what's emo night? You know, like, is that going to be my?
Yeah.
And then like after he experienced it, which it was my first, that McFadden's was my first emo night experience. It was like, holy crap, these are all the songs we sang in high school.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
everybody,
everybody's singing
yeah.
along to them, and you know, it's like, oh, Blink-182, New Balance. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
and it brings all of those memories back. And I think that's what also I bring into DJing too, is I don't do what everybody else does downtown.
Right.
And if you ever come to Double Deuce and experience it, we're not sitting there playing all the brand new hip hop that just came out, or you know, and it's creating those memories, those
Right.
songs that you haven't heard, that aren't on the radio on your way downtown, and it's going to be in your Uber on the way home. You know,
Right,
they're
right.
those songs that, oh wow, I haven't heard that song in a while.
Yeah.
I love this song. You
Right,
know, like
uh-huh.
it makes you want to dance. And
For sure.
And I think
You
know,
actually
that's,
put time and thought and effort into
yeah.
your sets.
And I'm always
what
looking
you
for new
offer.
remixes and redrums of those old songs,
Sure.
to not make them, you know, a little different,
Right.
but still that feeling. And yeah. it's
So
just-
where can people get a hold of Almost Famous Entertainment?
So we work really hard on our website.
Okay.
You know, our website is almostfamoussd.com.
Okay,
And-
almostfamoussd.com is the website.
that is the
Got it.
website, and we're starting to get so many bookings through that. Like,
Awesome.
it's the word of mouth is really getting out of
And
there.
Yelp.
We're getting
Yelp,
daily,
too.
you know, private parties and karaoke parties. We just did the Democratic
California State Democratic State.
Caucus or something.
Yeah.
I think it was,
Okay, yeah.
It's a long name.
Yeah, for sure.
It's, it was a huge event, and they
Yeah.
loved it, and so there's just all these random ones we don't even know are just reaching out to us and finding us on through Yelp. Our Yelp page helps out a lot, and if anybody out there has not left us a Yelp review, please do. If you've experienced us, and you like what you experience, please don't leave a negative one. Yelp has been great for our family,
Awesome.
and it just.
I'll be writing a review tonight, man. You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
for
that,
sure,
that would
dude.
mean a lot to us.
Yeah.
And I think the most rewarding thing out of all this is seeing our kids, seeing how our kids look at us. Because
Yeah, man.
my son is designing a logo the other day at dinner
That's
because
so
he
cool.
wants his YouTube page. He wants to be
Yeah.
a YouTuber, and he goes, Daddy, show me how you DJ.
Yeah.
Teach me how to. And he's running around with cables and hooking them up to his TV and,
Yes.
and hooking the computer up. And
That's so
Daddy,
cool.
look at his playlist on YouTube and stuff. And it's just like that kind of stuff. You see that coming out, and I tell him all the time. I'm like, Aiden, he's our oldest, and just see so much of him. Like, what do you want to do when you get older? Do you want to have your own business, or do you want to, And he's like, no, I want to have my own business, and stuff. And I'm like,
Awesome.
you got to work for it. It's not going to come easy. I'm not going to be there to edit all your videos, or you need to watch me do it, and you need to learn.
Yeah.
And just seeing those wheels turn in his head.
Yeah,
And
man.
even the twins, they're getting to that age too, where they're
That's
just,
awesome.
Jalen and Michaela, they're watching everything we do.
Yeah.
And just learning to hustle.
That's awesome, man. Hey, you guys are a true inspiration to me, and I don't say that lightly. I mean that, man.
Thank
You Chad, we've known each other for a few years now. Nadia, it's great to see
Yeah.
you, and watching you continue to chase this thing and continue to grow it, and just do things that I would have never expected. It's not a whole lot surprises me. You know what I mean? But when I see you make moves, and I'm like, whoa, like, do it, Chad. It just, man, it's so good to see. So it's been a pleasure and an honor, man, to have you guys on.
Thank
so
you.
thank you.
Same
And
here. We feel.
Yeah.
It was
I've-
very grateful to have you ask us to be on
For
here.
sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. And man, I wish you guys the best.
Thank you.
So thank you guys again. And guys, again, this is Chad and Nadia Blackburn with Almost Famous Entertainment. They are absolutely crushing it here in San Diego. Good friends and longtime supporters. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Look out for Longshot Company Underdog Stories episode 5. Should be coming out soon. As a matter of fact, it may happen Sunday. I don't know yet, but some things are changing, so we'll see what happens. But thanks again, guys.
Got that for you too. I'm
And your boy gets a present. Yeah. This is what it's about, guys.
Our next one, we're gonna have you design.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I
But-
got you.
Yeah, no,
Hey, thank you.
Also,
buddy.
if I
Thank you,
Thank
dog.
you.
before we log off here, Ted designed that logo too,
Okay.
and he's again working for free. The guy didn't
Shout
ask me
out
for a
Ted.
dime.
Nice, man.
He's a great guy, but yeah, I can't wait to rock some long shot.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again, guys, and thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.